Bunch of K's, a bunch of choppers, what we got for 'em. Yeah.
Yo, what it do, ski? I'm back with another React Jack. This is the rap form with VVS Nuck. And man, let me tell y'all right now, we're going to the Georgia Correctional Facilities. And if y'all squeamish, if y'all don't like people getting hurt, beat up, you don't like fights, and you don't like watching that type of stuff, you might want to go to the next video because this is bad. This is sad. This is insane, bro. Y'all make sure y'all hit the like and subscribe for me, man, because we finna jump right into this, man. I'm telling you, this don't make no sense, man.
Understand that this is not a joke. You understand what I'm saying? At any given time, it'll get real back here.
This is what happens when you put a nigga tattoo on, especially one of my bro, man. Deep what I'm saying? Deep what I'm saying?
All head like how you run on BLOOD. That's how I move. How to shit and don't add his bag. I ain't Pyru.
Man, them boy back there having Game of Thrones type swords. Them boy back there having swords, man. This stuff got beyond the knives, man. These are the Dracos of pokers, man. Damn. Got his hand tied behind his back.
Hold on, man. What we got going on in the jack, man? You gotta sit that shit in my bro. Where eating at? Where
Straight to the head. Okay. Ooh-wee. Gladiator school enough.
Georgia is the 8th most populous state in the United States and has the 4th highest prison population. The state of Georgia houses over 50,000 inmates in 34 facilities across the state, with 25,000 of those prisoners being labeled violent offenders.
Hey, man, look at them swords, man. Look at them pokers them boy got, man. Just look. Woo.
There are also 9,600 inmates currently serving life in prison and over 40 inmates currently on death row awaiting to be executed. Since the year 2022, there has been a total of 113 murders inside Georgia prisons, with 44 already this year. This includes one of the deaths involving an inmate in June of this year, who got his hands on a gun and killed a civilian food service worker with whom he was having a relationship with. After he shot...
Got his hands on a gun and killed the food service worker he had a relationship with. He's in prison, and he got his hands on a gun. Keep up.
And killed her, he turned the gun on himself and committed suicide. The shooter was able to get the gun by having a civilian on the outside fly a drone over the prison with the gun attached to it and drop it in the prison yard where he would collect it. He had been in prison for 9 years on a manslaughter charge, with his earliest release date being 2043. This murder would be the second death of a prison staff member in Georgia in less than a year, with the last death involving a prison guard being stabbed to death from behind with a homemade knife. The Georgia prison guard job has a high number of job vacancies due to its low pay, with its starting salary at $40,000, which is the equivalent of making $19 an hour.
$19 an hour to house and watch over violent criminals, man. $40,000 a year, bro. Y'all got to pay them people, man. Of course they gon', man, pay them folk, man.
In 2012, there were 6,500 prison staff employees, but in 10 years that number dropped 60%, well below 2,500 guards in 2022. Due to the low pay and not having enough manpower to handle the large number of inmates, prisoners will bribe guards to smuggle in drugs, phones, food, and designer clothing. Inmates would pay guards amounts from $1,500 and more for every delivery they made to them.
Bingo. You paying them people $40,000 a year. You think they ain't finna make another 40 smuggling? Contraband? Because I know I would. $19 an hour? There's some teenagers making more than that, bro. Of course I bring you an iPhone, gang. Of course.
Since 2018, there has been a total of 360 prison staff members fired for being involved in smuggling contraband, sexual assault, and extortion. In 2019, a correctional officer was caught trying to smuggle in 8 cell phones and 2.6 pounds of meth to an inmate, for which she was going to receive $10,000, but she was caught and would eventually be sentenced to 5 years in federal prison.
Damn.
Prison guards would even go above and beyond when an officer was on an inmate's payroll. The inmate paid the officer to kill another female officer who decided to stop moving drugs for him. The inmate would later attempt to send another hit on another officer, but the hitman ended up killing the wrong person.
Damn.
Now the inmate is currently on trial awaiting the death penalty.
Damn.
Even a prison warden was caught drug smuggling, and it was found that the warden was getting paid well above $44,000 from various inmates to help smuggle.
The warden, $44,000 on top of that little bit of piece of change he making why wouldn't he go get the extra $44,000, man? When it costs damn near $100,000 to live out here, man. Why wouldn't the warrior go get that money, man? Just for bringing in some iPhones and some pounds and some Gucci and Louis. Come on, man. Y'all got to make it make sense. Georgia got to tighten up.
In drugs and other illegal items. In 2023, prison officials would shake down and search inmate cells, and that year they would find a total of 6,300 cell phones, 1,432 pills, 242 pounds of cocaine, 300 pounds of marijuana, 769 pounds of meth, fentanyl, and heroin, which investigators would calculate the street value to be a total of $4,320,000 worth of contraband seized.
First of all, y'all always lying when y'all talk about the street value, because no. Second of all, man, them boys is in there having their ways, a whole nother world. They trapping in there. They having more work in there than y'all got on the street. Make that make sense. More motion than some of y'all got on the street. Make that make sense, man. These folks taking care of homes with this, man. And the inmate and the correctional officers, they got to bring it in because they only making $40,000 a year. $19 an hour, man. What do you need? A pound? What you need? An iPhone 5? 15? Oh, that's going to run you 15. What you need? Come on, man. Y'all got to make it make sense in these correctional facilities, man, in Georgia, bro.
The year before, an inmate with access to a cell phone scammed the Charles Schwab Bank out of $11 million, and he would eventually be caught. After he was released from prison, he was arrested by federal authorities and would eventually be sentenced to 11 years in federal prison. The Georgia Department of Corrections would document a total of 15,000 gang members, with the most well-known gangs being 4,700 Bloods, 3,900 Gangster Disciples, and 1,400 Crips. In October of 2024, the federal government Department of Justice would launch a full investigation into the horrific conditions and corruption in the Georgia prison system. Due to the lack of prison staff in 2021, there were a total of 702 sexual abuse acts against inmates in Georgia, with most of these victims being a part of the LGBT community. Gangs that run housing units often target LGBT inmates with physical...
I know you lying. I know they ain't using them people as no personal footstools in there, man. I know y'all let that being on their coffee table, man. That is crazy. It's crazy in there, man. Y'all stay out of there, man. I ain't lying. This ain't it.
Violence to force them out of the gang's housing unit. For example, in 2022, 24-year-old openly gay and transgender inmate Tristan McKee, who had a history of mental illness and suicidal ideations, was placed in a gang housing unit that was very hostile against LGBT inmates. He was attacked and beaten by Bloods and Gangster Disciples, and while he tried to run and escape, he was stabbed 12 times, including being stabbed in his eye, and prison guards would respond 45 minutes later.
45
Hours later,
minutes
he was pronounced dead. The day before his death, he told prison guards that he needed help leaving his housing unit because he felt that his life was in danger, but the guards ignored him.
That's on y'all. Rest in peace to that man. That death on y'all. He told y'all he ready to go. He was in a gang unit. He was openly trans. Stop it, bro. They was going to do him the worst way. And I guarantee you some of them boys in there were poking him up the other way. This is disgusting work, man.
At the time of his death, Tristan only had 1 more year in prison left until he was eligible to come home. And tortures are very frequent in Georgia prisons. For example, in August of 2020, an inmate passed a note to an officer stating that the inmate in the cell next to him kept screaming for help. So when the officer opened the cell next door, the officer found an inmate who had been held and tortured for almost 4 days. He had been injured in his eye and he suffered a traumatic brain injury. He was airlifted to an outside hospital where he...
Hold on, man. I know I keep pausing, but this is crazy. So... y'all ain't going around doing checks. How is this man held in another man's cell for 4 days straight? How is this even happening, man? This is terrible, man. like this is insane work, man. I done been in these situations, man. They do check every morning, every night, man. There's no way a man should be in another man's cell up under no bunk getting his head knocked off for 4 days straight.
He would later survive. Another incident in that same month involved an inmate who dug a hole in the wall into another man's cell, where the inmate would slide his way into the other man's cell, beat him, and rape him. A female officer would find the victim hidden under his bed with his head bleeding. He was hospitalized for head trauma requiring 26 staples and was treated for rib fractures and fractures to his fingers. An even worse story is when in 2022, 18-year-old inmate Jacob Daniels was attacked by 3 individuals who broke his wrist and his feet and stuffed fillings from inside a cut-up mattress in his mouth, stabbed him in the throat with an ink pen, and cut his wrists with glass from a broken light bulb. The attackers, Cody Brock and James Collins, were charged with malice murder, aggravated assault, and false imprisonment. But also prison guards have been known to secretly work with gangs in prison and being on their payroll and sometimes play a part in the role of an inmate's death. For example, in September of 2022 at Phillips State Prison, 3 Blood gang members, including one of them, 19-year-old Malik McBride, planned to run into a rival Crip member's cell to kill him. The Bloods told the prison guard that was on duty at the time their plans, and the guard agreed, so the prison guard unlocked the Crip gang member's prison cell and walked away.
Pay for that.
Shortly after, the 3 Bloods ran into the Crip cell, but with the Crip gang member being smart and already on point, he was prepared for an attack. The first Blood to enter the cell was Malik McBride, and the attack didn't last long because as soon as they went in, the Crip stabbed Malik in the head and with a fatal stab wound to the heart. The other 2 Bloods ran back to their cells and locked their doors.
The other 2 gang members, Blood members, ran back in their cell and locked the door after the first one went in the cell and got poked out. I thought y'all were gay. Y'all gotta go. Y'all supposed to go in there and finish the job. Y'all left that man in there to get his ass bust. Pause. And ran back in y'all cell, and now y'all having Game of Thrones swords and pokers? The hell going on, man?
And Malik attempted to run back to his, but he collapsed before he could make it. After this incident, the Crip was not charged with Malik's death because he admitted it was self-defense.
Facts.
But one of the Blood members was charged with felony murder for his involvement in initiating the attack. When word was spread throughout the Georgia prisons of Malik's death from a rival Crip member, it started a gang war in 3 separate prisons in the state of Georgia.
ASAP.
On October 1st, 2022 at Coffee State Prison, a war broke out between Bloods and Crips, and 2 inmates were taken to the hospital. On October 2nd at Macomb State Prison, a war caused 13 inmates to be taken to the hospital. And on October 3rd at Ware State Prison, 5 inmates were sent to the hospital. In the end, a total of 2 gang members were killed and 20 gang members were hospitalized. The prison guard that opened the original Crip's cell door was placed under investigation for the incident because he failed to cooperate. He was eventually fired. In the end, a prison facility is no place for any man, and it is a blessing to come home from it. It is crucial to never take your freedom for granted because not everyone sentenced to prison makes it home.
No late night vibe, you know. Late night vibe, we playing PS5. Yeah, man. You know what's going on.
Man, ain't no way, man. Ain't no way, man. Y'all boys going to prison thinking that shit cool. They on these Instagrams and these sites making y'all think it's cool. They got PS5, iPhone 15. They going crazy. They making y'all think like this the place to be. But as you can see on the backside of all that, man, all the designer clothes and pounds of weed and they got in they sell. Y'all seeing them folks lose it and abuse it. Boy, I getting poked out and bust all over the place, man. Jumped on, kicked in the face. This is not the place to be, especially if you out here talking about you gang. You got to stand on that. Man, on the other flip of the side of that coin, man, Georgia Correctional Facility, y'all dead ass wrong, bro. Paying them folk $40,000 a year. You got that right. They gonna bring some iPhones and some weed in there, man, to make up for it. It take $100,000 to live out here, bro. Y'all giving these people $19,000 a year? Of course, man. What you need me to smuggle? Cause it's getting smuggled, man. Everybody gotta do better all the way around the board. Georgia prisons is not the place to be. But hey, y'all seen it for yourself, man. This is the rap for man. And I'm gonna fuck with y'all later on, bro.